did.
No, they did not. No, they did not. Thank you, Clutch. Oh, my goodness. Johanna, that is your homage.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy
Johanna.
birthday. You wonderful woman.
You're gonna copyright Johanna?
So awesome. I'm gonna copyright it.
Yeah, but Johanna
can't-
isn't a made-up
You
thing,
can't.
okay?
You can't copyright a name, Lauren Elise. Lauren
It sounds like
Elise,
Shaniqua.
if you're just tuning in,
You still want me to own a part of
if you're just joining in and you're confused about what is going on, Andre's girlfriend Johanna, it's her birthday today, and we always joke about how Ohana's our favorite map at NASL because Ohana means family, and families always stick together. So that was Johanna. Also, Lauren Elise copyrights her own words. So if you'd like for her to copyright more words, send her suggestions on Twitter.
right.
Twitter.com/IamLaurenElise.
If you want to use words like synced, not like syncing up stuff, like synced.
like
past
you
tense
synced,
of
like
synced.
you synced my battleship.
Yeah, you synced my battleship.
Yeah.
it is now a word, S-I-N-T.
It is
How about
a
stinked?
copyrighted.
How about extinct?
Don't mess up my made-up words.
Maybe what if you just say like extinct, but instead of the CT at the end, you do KT.
Yeah, that is a copyrighted.
Well, actually, extinct
group
sounds like a
of
rapper
letters.
name, right? Like if you put like a Z in it,
That would be
and then
cool.
like extinct sounds like the next rapper to come out who like says, "These are for all my haters out there."
Okay, Justin.
Extinct. No, but that was Drake. Drake did it before Justin Bieber.
Can they all
Lauren, you realize the stream can't hear you and I'm having a one-sided conversation. Oh, is her mic on? Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
Oh, now I
Oh,
can.
now
now
hear
you can hear me?
But yeah, before.
All this time you couldn't hear me?
No, all this time we couldn't hear you.
Nobody could hear you, Lauren Elise.
I'm sure that my powerful voice echoed over to your microphone and I was heard clearly.
I'm
I'm
you're
pretty
powerful.
sure you're probably right.
I'm pretty sure you're powerful.
You have a very projective voice.
Is,
Let's talk
so
about
we
this
didn't
game a
even
little
have-
bit real quick, though.
Wait, hold on, Andre.
Okay.
So we didn't even do rapid fire for HuK. Did you guys forget all about HuK? HuK's one of my favorite.
we just talked about HuK.
Okay.
Why
let's
don't you
do,
rapid fire HuK?
Why don't we do impromptu?
Let's do it.
Rapid
Ready, set,
fire.
go.
Go, Lauren.
HuK.
Oh,
Protoss.
top 3 control.
I HuK'd my phone. It's like Chuck, but I made up the word.
Flipchuck is Damaga's last name.
Huxing is not a word.
All right.
Huckleberry Finn.
This
Okay,
is not.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have
This is not what's
a
supposed to happen.
barracks into command center, no gas. This is a very standard play coming out from MMA. He's following it up with a single barracks and a bunker. This is a little bit safer. Normally, you actually wait until this bunker, or excuse me, you wait to make this bunker. You actually get 2 barracks and then the bunker. This just shows a little bit of sign that MMA is a little bit scared of his opponent. I mean, you don't normally do something like this at all. You
That's
want to
good,
get that
though.
Marine count. Yeah,
It's HuK.
It's HuK. You have to do stuff like that, Frodan.
Yes, I completely agree. HuK is all about early pressure. That's another word I would have used to
Oh,
describe HuK.
Canadian. That's a really good one.
Guys, you might be wondering, what the heck is HuK doing? He has so much chrono boost. He could be chrono boosting out his warp gate. He could be chrono boosting out probes. This is his style. He likes to actually save a ton of chrono boost and then use that once he verifies his opponent has done something. So let's say, you know, some huge pressure is coming. Well, then he's going to start chrono boosting out gateways and maybe even warp gates as well. This is just the style he does. It's a really safe way to actually play out this matchup, and it offers him the ability to make calls on a larger time scale. So he could be using everything and then be running into the wrong build, or he could have seen, oh, I could be pressuring right now, but I don't have the ability to. Now all of a sudden he has maybe 10 more seconds or 20 more seconds to decide, but he does actually cost maybe a little bit of timing, maybe a little bit of economy, but still, it's pretty negligible to just giving himself options.
Yep. And with those options, HuK can choose to be aggressive or defensive, but we all know HuK loves to be aggressive, especially with Zealot Sentry early on, force fields, and all that business. Although, I mean, anything can happen. HuK, well, he is warping in more sentries. Normally we see the first choice of tech. With those sentry warping, it makes me think he's just going to be aggressive
Yes, most certainly. You don't get 5 sentries and you not be aggressive. Not only that, he has the pylon set up over here in the mid left-hand
again.
position.
Chrono boosting his gates too.
When you see 5 sentries, just whenever you see that as Terran, you're saying to yourself, well, you know, you could put your tech so far behind just to play defensive, but really Terran doesn't have any option to play offensive in this early game stage when force fields are so prevalent. So he's saying to himself, okay, I see the sentries, or if he discounted, he sees the sentries, I know you're doing some sort of gateway.
Is this enough to defend, though, Andre? I mean, we usually see when, like, Polt was defending against HuK, he went for, like, 3 bunkers, went pulled his SCVs ahead of time because he knew that's his MO. Oh, no! He's moving down the ramp!
It could be a trap. And HuK doesn't spring the trigger.
I don't think he was
doesn't
prepared
pull
for
it,
that.
excuse me. Definitely could have just won the game right there if he trapped all of those Marines in there. But he's also going for the surprise effect. But this is giving so much time for his opponent to actually get additional units. Now here he goes ahead and puts some pretty nice force fields. It's going to keep all of these Marines in, but it says if I don't kill these Marines right now, I lost the game.
The Marines are buffered really nicely by the Zealots.
Yeah.
The Zealots are trying to all get into the fray, but HuK not able to do enough damage. Does end up losing a lot of sentries. Now the big thing is that HuK doesn't have tech really followed up, but he's got a lot of resources banked because this entire time he's been on a low amount of gateways, so his economy is not in that bad of a shape. And Twilight Council is a pretty logical flow afterwards that we can get more gateway units out.
Man, Ferdinand, this is such an intelligent way to actually progress through this. You can see 2 additional barracks. A lot of people actually say, oh, I'm ahead, let's get farther ahead by getting another command center. I feel like that is, most of the time, the wrong thing to do. You really want to assert yourself and put pressure on the map. Don't give your opponent the ability to get back into the game with Blink Stalker play or even Double Forge play. Really punish your opponents for taking such a big risk and having such delayed tech. So put units on the map, make drops happen, and make a lot of stuff work, because no matter what, you're going to deny your opponent a 3rd base. And maybe you can just end the game right away. I mean, if you have so many sentries in the early game stages, once you get medevacs out, you can absolutely just dodge them, pick up units, pull them back behind force field, and all of a sudden you have a nice little buffer where Zealots can't attack them.
Yep, I think you're right in that sense. Because MMA realized he didn't take that much damage from me. He did lose some SCVs. He lost 6. But getting a 3rd command center, especially if HuK has the ability to just re-attack again when he doesn't have enough units, would be kind of unwise. That's why getting more barracks is the smarter option. I agree with that. What I do think, though, is that MMA... Oh, well, I think he doesn't have to be so defensive, because HuK just lost a lot of his sentries, so he's either teching, which he is, or he's just massing more units and getting ready to attack. And all you do is pretty much determine it with 1 scan, and when you can figure that out, you can go on the counter-aggression, because look at it, HuK's just being so greedy. He's getting Templar Archives, 3 upgrades right after his Twilight Council as well.
He kind of has to get Templar Archives, though. You're not really going to get Storm. You're going to try to feed back to limit the amount of pressure. When your medevacs are so weak and you don't have that ability to actually heal up your units, you're going to back off for a little bit. So this is a good way to actually buy a little bit of time. But we'll see if it actually works. That 4 High Templar is going to be warped in here. Only 2 medevacs, so it's a very easy double feedback, and then you just merge 1 Archon.
This is really a great spot, Andre, too, for MMA. You're absolutely right. The feedback can be valuable, but he doesn't even have time to buy it.
Yeah.
The factory, if it lands, I mean, the Zealots can't charge.
Oh,
that Archon! Wow.
Wow. He actually pushed that Archon up. Really unfortunate for HuK. He's really far behind. 4 pylons are going to unsupply cap him. But you can see how much damage is being done just by doing this. Staying on 2 base for this long is really, really difficult for
that factory
any Protoss.
wants to land. Does it let it land?
No. But it's still going to pose as a pretty big threat, because look at that.
Whoa.
Wow. And that's so unfortunate. You can see the factory does go down, but that is a lot of damage being done. Oh, he needs to pick up. There it is. Okay.
Yep, great restraint from MMA. His macro advantage is just growing larger and larger while he's pumping out a 3rd command center. HuK trying to trap more of the units. Does let a few of them go, but he has weathered the storm for now. Now, he doesn't have storm even finishing up whatsoever. Still on just gateway units. MMA picking up, going for a double drop also in the main while sending some units back home. This is the right move. Just also wants to get maybe a Ghost Academy out soon so he can fight with EMPs, and that would just make him unkillable.
Whenever you're going for for mass gateway units, you never actually want to go into a base trade scenario because SEVs will actually tank a ton of damage from those initial zealots and let your Marines and Marauders really close the gap. If you don't have AoE, you really can't do that much. That's why it's a little bit risky for. It's actually a bit risky for HuK to be pushing across the map here. I don't fully agree with this. He actually needs to just win the game outright if he actually wants to win right here. But pushing across the map, you're just enabling MMA to do so much over here. You can see that's why he's just backing up. He's denying the third. There's no actual way for him to push into the natural and do some critical blow to win the game.
MMA has the Ghost Academy done, but he's not researching Mobius Reactor or getting any ghosts out. Well, okay, now he also just kidding. He was supply block. When you get the ghosts out, there's really it's really tough to pull off the 2-2 timing unless you get like ridiculous amount of timing window, like your opponent's engineering base was delayed either. Because when you go for like this composition, I talked to Todd a lot about this. You want to have that overwhelming upgrade advantage with Guardian Shield.
Yes.
You'll have that window where maybe about 30 seconds the Terran upgrades won't finish. If you look, MMA is the one ahead in upgrades. So this kind of mobility style with massive double forge chrono boosts isn't going to be nearly as effective either, and that's not necessarily HuK's fault. It's that MMA's aggression has really halted HuK's ability to invest in that.
Yeah, and MMA has the better overall composition too, with Marines and Marauders, a ton of medevacs here, Frodan.
Yeah.
There's no way that I think there can really be a winning fight for Protoss here. He needs the Storms, but he just doesn't have the capacity to do that off of 4 gases. Now he is going to be getting his 5th and 6th. Now we see a potential base race right here. And this is a pretty crushing number of units. He will deny the 3rd base. MMA is going to back up from here. I think that is the correct decision in this case. If you kill the army, you win the game. Save the cheerleader, save the world.
Yeah, so we're going to see what's going to happen here. HuK's going to charge, focus on the command center, but the charge on the Zealots are on cooldown. A lot of them can't engage, but now they do. Force fields pop everywhere. That's going to allow the Archons to immediately hit everything. No EMPs from MMA. They were not ready yet, but it doesn't really matter because it's got so much stuff. HuK's supply is going to drop to a very pitiful amount. MMA doubling supply count of his opponent. Now HuK doesn't even have Storm or anything prepared. Normally you have Templars to fall back on, but he's got nothing.
And look, there's still those 2 dropships in the back of HuK's base doing a serious number to his units. I mean, he really can't do anything. He's pinned with all these units. They can't defend the 3rd base too well. And look at the amount of medevacs out in the field. The unit tab shows 10, so 8 are in this group, I do believe.
This is huge. MMA actually sniped the Templar archives this entire time.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. That's also part of the explanation.
Yeah, HuK is super far behind Frodan. All MMA is going to do from here is macro. He can really do more than that. Dropping again in the top left-hand corner, this is going to be so successful as well, as it clears up a couple of units and forces more units to be made in the top left-hand corner, which is very far away from the top right-hand corner, which needs to be defended pretty soon here, as Marines, Marauders, a plethora of medevacs and ghosts are piling up at the Xel'Naga Tower. And once he feels confident, he's going to go ahead and push out and win the game. I mean, there needs to be a serious micro blunder. There needs to be a move command for over 10 seconds, a disconnect, something for MMA to just not be conscious during this next fight.
But MMA is still pushing in. He's still being a little bit cautious before pushing in. Starting 3-3, HuK will have +3. Now starting to get Templars, High Templars rather, back into the fray, but there's no Storm. And without Storm, it's going to be very difficult. I mean, there's no way for him to directly engage. The ball is too big. Zealots can't even engage. The EMP on the sentries. There's only enough energy for 1 Guardian Shield, maybe 2, but nothing really of substance. MMA just has way too many units. He can even go for a flank and play Ring Around the Rosie, as HuK, the last final moments on Ohana are coming to a close. It doesn't matter because HuK, he does have an upgrade advantage, but he doesn't have AoE to deal with it. The ball is just too big. MMA is also stimming so liberally. The medevac count is enough to the point he can just heal an infinite amount of time. GG gets called, and game number 1 goes to MMA.
Pretty clear win directly after the gateways. I mean, MMA played that out perfectly. I think HuK put himself in a position where he could have come back but it's really hard to keep up with 5 barracks double medevac production, and when your opponent knows that Colossus are inbound, they're going to keep piling that medevac count on. And if you don't limit that medevac count with feedbacks, with stalkers, it's very hard to come back into that, and he really doesn't have the capacity to go stalkers and feedback at the same time. That's a lot of gas. You need 3 bases, and HuK wasn't able to keep up. But let's be honest, after the 5 sentries are cleaned up in the beginning stage, you're just so far behind. Normally it's so hard to come back in those positions. I think I'm sorry. I think HuK did a good job though overall.
HuK or MMA?
HuK.
Okay.
To come back into the game.
Oh,
I
okay,
really
okay,
feel
okay,
like he did a good job.
Game number 1 was brought to you by Stamps.com. Go to NASL.tv/P/Stamps for hassle-free postage from your PC. You can check it out while we take a quick break and get ready for game number 2 between MMA and HuK.